So my name is Becky Folks, and I have Anna with me today. So we are from the Colorado Spirit Crisis Counseling Program. So we are a FEMA and SAMHSA funded grant put in place to provide emotional support to everyone in Larimer County during the COVID-19 pandemic. And just a little breakdown of our team. So Anna here with me is one of our outreach counselors. I am the team lead, and I also do some of our senior care specialist activities. And then we also have hotline staff and marketing people, and I'll let Anna get into the breakdown of what we do.
Cool. So we wanted to start off by showing you guys kind of where we fall on the, well, I know, on like the acuity level of mental health services. So you guys are probably familiar with the Crisis Center with Summit Stone. We've got a crisis hotline that you can call when like emergencies happen. We have 911, that kind of stuff. And that's going to be like our top left over here. And the traditional outpatient is going to be like your therapist that you see like weekly or monthly or whatever that is. That's going to be like a mid kind of range level of mental health services. And we kind of fall underneath that. So we do like very brief interactions with people, 1 to 5 sessions, like nothing much. And then we also do like very basic, like emotional support, not going into therapy, not going into like a crisis situation, anything like that. All right, and to sum it up, kind of, we have 2 levels of support. We've got our support line, and then we have our outreach counselors. This is our support line, if you guys want to write it down. Anyone can call, it's open 7 days a week. And when our program ends, hold on just 1 second for me, please. Okay, sorry about that. We have some dogs over here playing really loudly, so working from home. Anyway, so yeah, that's our support line number. And then we also included our crisis line number down at the bottom, just in case anybody needs that. There's a kind of, just the difference between those 2 things is that the crisis is for like an emergency mental health situation, and our line is for people who may be feeling like they've lost their jobs, or they're feeling kind of overwhelmed with COVID, or they're having a lot of anxiety, those kind of things. So we wanted to show you that. And these are the individual and family services that we provide. So this is when we talk one-on-one with like someone that's struggling, or like a whole family that's struggling. We can do crisis counseling in a group, or we can just do it for the person. We have social support groups that we run weekly. Becky and I actually run both of those that we do. They're really cool, and we can take anybody in those, can come in. We do community networking. We have our support line staff that can do assessments. They can refer to therapists or to other organizations in Larimer County, and they can also provide resources to people. And then we also have like a bunch of psychoeducational materials that we can give out. So we've got that as an option too. And then moving on, we also do stuff for businesses and organizations, kind of like what we're doing right now. We give like short tailored presentations. These are some of the things that we can do on like recognizing common reactions to disasters, building coping skills for a recovery process, managing disaster related stress. But honestly, like we could do anything related to COVID. So anything that like maybe an organization or a business or a team like really needs specifically, we can jump in and talk on any of those kind of things. But then we do like to note that we're not therapists, and we don't provide therapy. We're not a clinical team, so we don't document in Avatar. We don't document anywhere. Everything's totally free, totally confidential, and there's no file on anybody. And I think that's really important to note for people. So yeah, our role is to supplement services already in place. We're not here to replace things that people already have. I think we get that question a lot on, we already have this going on, we already have that going on, and that's awesome. We want you guys, everyone, to have their own kind of things going on. We're just here to supplement those. Like I said, our services are totally free and anonymous, and then we can have up to 5 contacts with people. So there's no kind of time limit really on how long we can talk to people. It could be 30 minutes, it could be 3 hours, but we kind of really don't go past 5 meetings basically there.
Yeah, and to piggyback off of that a little bit, just to give an example of the types of things that we see and can help with. In the work that I do with seniors, I talk to a lot of people who are just feeling really lonely and isolated and benefit from having someone to chat with a couple of times. So really that person that doesn't need ongoing therapy, but just needs someone to talk to. And if you do refer anyone to us and they do end up needing ongoing therapy, we are able to provide those referrals too. So if you're like, this person might be struggling, not really sure, you can direct them to our support line and we can talk to them a couple of times. And then if they do need more resources or referrals, we can definitely provide that.
Yeah, we act like the gatekeeper kind of for other services and getting connected and those kind of things. Just we're kind of a place that people can start.
Exactly. And next, I wanted to talk about phases of disaster. I think this is really interesting to look at during the pandemic because in past disasters that this program has been put in place before, for those were things like fires and floods in Larimer County. So this is the phases of disaster. So Anna always likes to say that the honeymoon phase was when at the beginning of quarantine when we were like making bread and everyone was howling at the moon at 8 p.m.
Yeah.
And then as you can see, that's like seen as a high on this reaction map. And like I said, since this pandemic isn't like other natural disasters that we've seen, it's kind of hard to say where we're at. But Anna and I were just talking today actually about how it's almost been a year now. I think like March is coming so soon, and that so we might be seeing some of those anniversary reactions. And this is just something interesting to keep in mind, like when you're working with people in the community, and something that we love to talk with people about too, is just how all of the reactions can look differently for different people. And just wanted to go over some of our key principles. So we are strengths-based. We really try to promote resilience, empowerment, and recovery with the people that we talk to. Like Anna mentioned, we're anonymous. So we don't classify, label, or diagnose people, and we don't keep any records. We are very outreach oriented. So a big part of Anna and I's jobs are to go out into the community and set up presentations like this one and let everyone know that we're here. And we definitely conduct things in non-traditional settings. So most of what we do now goes on over the phone, either through us or through our support line, through our Zoom groups. But I do meet with a couple of people in person, mostly older adults who aren't able to use that technology. And we are designed to strengthen systems already in place. So since we are a temporary program, we only have funding through the end of June. We really try to direct people to those ongoing resources if they do need them. And some more of our goals and principles. So we're here to help disaster survivors understand their situations and reactions, work on reducing stress and provide that emotional support, assist people in their disaster recovery options, promote the use or development of coping strategies. That's probably one of our favorite things to work on during our weekly groups.
Yeah.
And connect survivors with other people and agencies who can help them in their recovery process. And I think that's been a really fun part of our group so far, is we've gotten people to meet people that they never would have met before. And it's really fun to see those interactions happen.
Yeah, it's great.
And then we wanted to show a quick video too. Give us 1 second to get that up, just to get a little bit more into the discussion of self-care.
Share computer sound. Okay, awesome.
Pressure is for tires, not for car buying.
When was the last time you were stressed out? I take that as on your way here. Maybe you were on your way to work, running late and stuck in traffic. Or were you at home paying your monthly bills? Maybe you were just watching the 5 o'clock news. Your heart starts racing, your palms get sweaty, your stomach jumps into your throat. We experience these body sensations so often We don't even know the difference now. So indulge me for a minute. If you have anything in your hands, just set it aside. Plant your feet firmly on the ground. Close your eyes. Inhale with me, in through the nose. Exhale through the mouth. Inhale through the nose. Exhale through the mouth. When you're ready, open your eyes. Congratulations, you just practiced self-care. It can be that simple. Unfortunately, the $10 billion self-care industry doesn't want you to think so. There's this myth that's fed by Instagram posts and countless advertisements that self-care is a spa day, pedicures and Prosecco, a weekend-long Netflix binge, anything pumpkin spice related. All these indulgences are great, but they're not self-care. We're left chasing these perfect self-care experiences, and they don't actually restore us. So we're left with a question: if that's not self-care, what is self-care, and how do I practice it? Self-care is deliberately taking care of your well-being through restorative activities. One of the greatest threats for our well-being is physical and emotional stress. Stress is one of the leading causes of healthcare issues in America. And we experience it every day. We experience stress by what we put in our bodies, what we put on our bodies, the thoughts that we think, and the choices that we make throughout our day. Some of the most stressful things that we can put in our bodies are sugar, alcohol, excessive caffeine, and processed foods. Those are also some of the most consumed items in America. So with all this stress impacting our immune system, our energy levels, our emotional well-being, it's essential that our self-care practice does the opposite. About a year ago, a coworker asked me what I did for self-care. I cringed when she asked me that question. I said, I eat and I sleep and that's enough, totally brushing her off. At the time, I was managing a high-volume retail business in Washington, D.C. My husband and I were starting a company, and we're raising our 2-year-old son. I started every day with coffee and a scone, went to work, had very few breaks, and finished my day watching Netflix and scrolling on my phone. I was in complete denial about what I needed to do to take care of myself. Ultimately, I burned out, and I quit my job. I decided to pursue a passion of mine, and I began working as a labor doula and a childbirth educator. Now, a large aspect of that job is to support pregnant women and prepare pregnant women to be as relaxed as possible during what could be a stressful event in a stressful environment. And I learned really quickly that to be successful at that, I had to be a relaxing presence, which meant I had to take care of myself. And that's when I discovered how to practice self-care. My foundation began as a diet rich in fruits, vegetables, and whole plant-based foods. And then I added in 3 restorative activities to make my self-care practice. The first, moments of stillness and in silence. We just practiced this a few minutes ago. We are bombarded by noise every day. The TV, the radio, traffic, our kids yelling at us. But the loudest noise of all is the voice in our heads. We have roughly 60,000 thoughts a day, and for some of us, 80% of those thoughts are negative. When we meditate and have moments of stillness and silence, it brings awareness to that internal voice. And when we have that awareness, that's when we can choose what thoughts we're holding on to and which we want to let go of. We can also adjust the volume on how loud that internal voice is. The first time I meditated, I was sitting in a chair and I immediately got squirmy and my back started hurting and my internal voice got so loud and it was talking about all the things I should be getting done on my to-do list versus sitting doing nothing. But I committed to 5 minutes a day, And slowly but surely, that voice got quieter. I have one suggestion for starting a powerful meditation or stillness practice, and it's simply to be comfortable. You don't need to sit in a straight back, rigid chair. You can actually be comfortable on your couch. I actually encourage you to be as comfortable as possible without falling asleep. The second restorative activity I added in was movement. This could be walking, running, dancing, yoga, jumping jacks on your living room floor. Our bodies are meant to move. And when we move and when we exercise, it creates endorphins, which first, they help sleep, which naturally reduces our stress. And it also sends a positive feeling through the body that's similar to that of morphine. You don't need a fancy gym or trainer to do this, although they may help sometimes. And just 10 minutes a day makes a difference. The last restorative activity I added in was time in nature. According to environmental psychology, time in nature will improve your mood, reduce stress, and improve cognitive function. And the Environmental Protection Agency says that the average person spends 93% of their life indoors. So we're left with this incredible opportunity to support our well-being simply by going outside. We are animals of nature, and we often live completely disconnected from our natural environment. We may go days, if not weeks, without our bare hands or feet touching the ground. My son, he's almost 3 years old, and he's the most kinesthetic child out there. He loves being outside. If I let him, he'd spend all day outside, in the backyard, at the beach. And when he's outside, he's not just being outside. He is rubbing his hands into the dirt. He is touching leaves, trees, and catching frogs. And I could never understand why his shoes didn't stay on his feet for more than 5 minutes. But maybe he was onto something. The term earthing is now being used to describe your bare hands or feet on the ground, our earth. And there's a renowned cardiologist who says that the reduction of inflammation due to earthing can actually be documented by infrared imaging and white blood cell count. Some of the other benefits include reduced stress, improved sleep, improved circulation. So it's no surprise to me that when my son spends most of the day outside, he naps, he sleeps like a rock, he eats everything I give him, and there's very few emotional outbursts. When you combine these activities and practice them daily, it will support your mood, increase your energy, increase your joy. Imagine if you practice self-care for 30 minutes a day, 10 minutes of stillness, 10 minutes of movement, 10 minutes of time in nature, on top of a diet that is rich in whole plant-based foods. That's over 180 hours of self-care in a year. But I'm so busy. When am I going to get time for 30 minutes a day of self-care? Well, we can start by looking at the 5 hours a day that the average person watches TV, or the 50 minutes a day that we spend on social media. We can start there. But before you get worried about adding a self-care practice onto your never-ending to-do list, remember that it is a practice. It's not about getting it right or having the perfect self-care photos for your social media. It's about showing up for yourself every day. What would be possible for you if you showed up for yourself? Thank you.
All right.
There we are. Okay, we'll put our PowerPoint back on.
Yes.
So yeah, we liked that video because we felt like she made some funny points, and she really opened up the conversation for the fact that there are a lot of different ways that we have to take care of ourselves, and there's different areas that we can look at. It's not just one thing, you know. I felt like, I don't know, a lot of times self-care can be kind of judgy, and that's not what it's about, right? It's different for all of us. It looks different for each one of you. It looks different from us. We were also joking during the video about how she's like, go outside, and it's like snowing in Fort Collins right now. We're like, yeah, we don't want to do that right now.
Yeah.
But Yeah, but the point is that it's a good opening conversation for taking care of ourselves in many different areas in our life, and how important that kind of recipe is for all of us and how unique it is for each person. So moving kind of from that point over, we've got some coping and building resilience skills that we wanted to go over. This is something we like to go over with everybody because I think it can be really helpful to remember kind of those things. And like I said before, it's what works for you, you know? So let's see, we've got maintaining healthy habits during the pandemic can be really challenging. And I feel like that's something we can all relate to. This pandemic has just blown us all out of the water. Like, it's just, my life looks 100% different than it used to. So to build resilience, it's important to identify things that make us feel good in different aspects of our lives and create space and time to dedicate to those things. Some of the ways that you can build resiliency is to limit exposure to news and social media, or give yourself some time limits on news and social media if that's something that you feel like could be helpful. For me, I know I can get sucked into Instagram or the news and be doing that for hours on end. So that's super important for me. Maintaining communication with friends. I like what you said earlier about you watch shows and stuff together, and I think that's a super cool thing to do.
It's like a prime example for us. So
Yeah.
thank you for that.
Yeah, love that one. Set easily achievable goals, because it's also important to forgive ourselves and not be too hard on ourselves during this time. Be aware of work-life balance, especially if we've moved over to working at home. I've noticed that a lot of that can get muddled together, you know, but also like being at work when it looks completely different like it used to, with masks on and all of these other things that are happening, and not having that connection with each other. It's just really important to maintain that and like be aware of it. And then do things that promote relaxation, whatever that looks like for you. So it could be yoga, it could be mindfulness, it could be, you know, watching a show, it could be taking a hot shower, it could be anything there. And then I put together these fun ideas for coping, just because I think that can be hard sometimes when you're sitting there thinking about, oh, what can I do? So I just wanted to put this up. You guys can take a look at it. And I also wanted to ask you all, what are fun ideas that you have, or what things do you do, or that maybe you've taken up during the pandemic that maybe you didn't do before? And you don't have to share if you don't want to.
Well, how about taking writing lessons?
Good.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and then, you know, spending more time, because I travel in my job. So since I haven't traveled in almost a year, I'm able to spend more time, you know, to do turn-in and things like that. So that's been my blessing, is Hearts and Horses.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing.
I would have to agree and add to that Hearts and Horses has been so important for me right now. I was working and just recently, unexpectedly, I guess you could say, retired due to the stress level. And so I feel a little untethered right now. And honestly, like being able to learn something new at Hearts and Horses has kind of put my one foot back on the ground.
Yeah.
And working on getting the other one down there. But I think it's fun time to be able to dive into some educational things like master classes, or just, I was looking at Front Range Community College has an extension for people. It's like no credit, but you can take something that you're interested in. So
cool.
That's great.
yeah, use it, use that time to your advantage and have fun with it.
Definitely.
I'll have to look into that. That's really cool that Front Range is doing that.
Yeah.
There are so many listings there as well. Like right now, my problem is there was too many. Like I can't
Yeah.
pick one.
Yeah.
Like
So
when you
how
had
do
to
you-
pick. Sorry, go ahead, Marilyn.
Oh, how do you find out? I've heard about that Front Range. I haven't, is there a link, a special link or a place to Google those opportunities?
I just went straight to their website, and across the top the top of their homepage, there was, they had classes, programs, and then I believe it said extension offerings or extension classes. So
Okay.
I thought, oh, well, goodness, at age 56, I don't need any more units.
Right.
I don't need that. So let's see what's in here. And boy, they had everything from, again, from A to Z: accounting, photography, art, interior design, horticulture. They had all kinds of wonderful, interesting opportunities. So yeah, I would say poke around on their website because they had a lot of really fun stuff to look into. They were anywhere from like $100 to maybe $125 for a 6-week class, but it's all done online and it looks like it's 12 sessions. So I thought it was a pretty good deal. 12 sessions
Yeah.
for $100 isn't bad.
Yeah, no, not at all.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome.
My channel, I never knew what binge watching was until now. And Netflix, Bridgerton, I've been watching so much on Netflix. In fact, I just came from there. I had to stop to get back here for this meeting because I was watching it this afternoon. But it was my treat for getting 3 things accomplished today.
Nice.
Then cleaning stuff and that needed to be cleaned in this house. So I felt like I could treat myself to watching that. The other thing is that I have found I am loving making crackers with my sourdough leftovers. So to feed your sourdough, and I've never done sourdough bread before. So that's a newbie. That's nothing. That's several months old. I mean, I've been doing it for a long time, but I didn't know what to do with the starter. Now I'm making crackers and everyone loves it. So I'm calling them my COVID crackers. They're just it's sourdough starter with just sesame seeds, any kind of seasoning. And I feel like it's
Awesome.
It's so
not
weird too. I looked up a recipe for sourdough crackers from bread last night. So that's so funny that you're doing that.
It's fun and delish. Yeah.
Sounds great.
That's awesome.
I like that COVID crackers.
Yeah.
So fun. Yeah.
We're all going crackers anyways, so
That's so true. That's true.
I'm going to just really quick throw out a title of a book that a friend offered me. It's called Untethered Soul, and it's by Michael Singer. And I've only just begun reading it. And it's one of those books that you're going to walk through and you're going to want to practice maybe and apply the different things that each chapter points out. But specifically, chapter 1, page 1, sentence 1 was about that voice in your head. And I think sometimes we listen too carefully to that voice. And I know I am one of those people, having been a teacher and very type A personality. That voice in my head is a constant reel. And anyways, Untethered Soul, I'm just getting into it and I'm really finding it very, very beneficial to check that voice, put in that time for yourself. So that's kind of my little help, mental
Thank
help
you.
for myself. So it's a good, easy read. And
The author?
Michael Singer.
Thank you.
So give it a try. It's a good one.
Sounds great.
Yeah.
I've also found Calm, CALM, the Calm app. And that I try, it's a 10-minute meditation every morning. And that I have found very helpful. And at night when I can't turn off my brain, they have stories. Matthew McConaughey can even read you a story to sleep at night.
I didn't know Matthew McConaughey was on there.
Yes, he is. Look him up. Yes.
That's awesome. And
Awesome.
So I listen to these stories and then fall asleep. And next morning I see it's my phone's turned off. So anyway, I have found that a helpful app.
awesome. That's a perfect segue too, because we're going to go into a couple other apps that we like.
Yeah.
And the Calm app is actually on there. And it's nice to know that you use that because I've actually never tried that one. There's a bunch that I have tried. But if Matthew McConaughey can read me stories to let me fall asleep at night, I just feel like that would be really good for my mental health. So, all right, I'm going to let Becky take it from here.
Yes. And thank you all for sharing. We get so many like fun ideas that we end up sharing in the future from talking to people just like this. So we really appreciate that. But yeah, to get into some of the apps. So one that Summit Stone is a big fan of is My Strength. So it's pretty cool because it can track your mood and emotions. So when you log on to the My Strength app, it'll ask like how your day is, how you're feeling, and then you can go to a calendar and overview how your month went. So maybe you might realize like weekends are hard, or there's a certain day of the week that's hard for you. And that can kind of help you figure out like what's going on. What can I do to practice self-care on those days or make things a little bit easier for myself? So that's, yeah, we really like My Strength for that. And there is a link here. We can send you the links if you're interested in any of these as well. And then, like we just talked about, we have the Calm app, which I actually haven't tried, but I might have to now. And then I have tried the Headspace app too, and I do really enjoy that. So it's a guided meditation app, really cool, great for practicing self-care.
Yeah, Headspace actually has a Netflix show now where you can do the guided meditations on Netflix. I think it's called just Headspace.
Okay.
But it could be called guided meditations, but it has the word Headspace in it. So that's pretty cool too.
Okay.
Also, I think we should add Matthew McConaughey under the Calm.
Yes, we will do that
think that's
for
a
our
good
next
idea.
presentation. All right, and then we have the Mind Shift app. So this one is free. It helps you change the way you view anxiety. So this could be great for someone who's struggling with anxiety. Helps with coping skills, again, guided breathing and meditation. And then it also gives you access to a journal to track goals, emotions, and progress. I love that part. And then we have Stop, Breathe, Think. So another mindfulness tool, kind of for beginners to help develop that daily practice, and also uses that self-check style, has a breathing timer. So lots of really good options out there. We definitely encourage people to try this. You know, it's a nice little break if you're needing some extra time for yourself. And then here we have just our contact information. So our website, our main number. So if you were wanting to, call us and just ask a general question, you could call that. And then our state website, we do actually have these programs in almost every county of the state of Colorado right now. So if you know someone in another county, you could go to this and help them figure out which crisis counseling program would be for them. And then our brochure. And if you want to, if you have someone who might want some more information about us, we can email this to you, or we can also drop off some hard copies of it as well. All right, and then I'm going to stop share to see if we have any questions.